It's been a very, very long wait for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, and an even longer wait for the Canon EOS R1. Many expecting that camera to be announced several years ago. And with 5 cameras recently registered, 3 of them being stills hybrid cameras, and Canon rumors stating that May the 15th would be the announcement, rumors have been swirling as to which cameras are going to be announced. At least until now. And I've got the 2 camera models that are supposed to be announced according to a known source, but before we get to that, let me tease you a little bit here. Last week I mentioned something about a whole bunch of cameras being on sale, some surprise sales, such as the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. A staggering $500 off for a camera that was released just 1.5 years ago. Is it too early to see the Canon EOS R6 Mark III announced? Yes, it is. It's not going to be one of the cameras announced, although if you want to get the camera at $1999, it's a terrific price. I mean, basically, it's a mini 1DX Mark III, but faster and better in many ways, although the 1DX Mark III still has a faster buffer. It's a very solid camera. So what about the Canon EOS R5C? Well, that camera is significantly discounted to $35.99. And once again, according to my source, the R5C is not one of those cameras to be announced, although we do have 2 registered cinema cameras, ID 0174 and 0179. And if you're throwing stuff at the screen and you're swearing at me because I'm taking too long that this should be done in 15 or 20 seconds, you know what, folks? I'm 54. I'm not one of those younger kids that likes to go to TikTok and have everything revealed in 25 or 30 seconds. I'm teasing this on for dramatic pause because right now, I've got something nobody else has. An identification of the 2 cameras to be announced by Canon at this big event that's supposed to be coming up on May the 15th. And that's a really big deal. I'm super excited because one of the cameras that I've been looking to get in an awful long time is the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, but since Black Friday of 2022, we've been teased and pulled along with so many different rumors that have been flip-flopping and going all over the place. The same with the Canon EOS R1, supposed to be the master of everything, a jack of all trades. So, which cameras are supposed to be announced? Well, I'm going to tell you in just a moment, but there is one other thing I'm trying to validate right now, and that's pricing and the exact date and time of the announcement. So that should come in a future video. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my source. Now, this source is a relatively new source. I've known this source for about 3 or 4 months. So while I feel that this source is trustworthy and that the information they're providing me is, well, it comes from a place where they want to provide the accurate and correct information, but they are not the source themselves. They're getting it from somebody else. And the story makes sense, it's all plausible, but once again, whenever you're dealing with rumors, because you're not getting the actual official announcement, if that's what you want, turn off right now, wait till May the 15th till we get the official announcement. But I do trust this source. If this was a Canon rumors post, I'd rate it as a CR2. Unfortunately, until we get the announcement, I won't know how credible this sources are. So please take it with a grain of salt. Treat this as a CR2. So are you ready for the first camera to be announced at the big Canon event? I know there's a lot of deep breaths here because I know some of you are ready to get frustrated if it's not the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. And it is. The Canon EOS R5 Mark II is one of the cameras to be announced at this big Canon event. And the second camera, you're going to be surprised by this, it's the Canon EOS R1. Now, according to Canon rumors, the Canon EOS R1 was supposed to get some sort of development type announcement, and it was kind of wishy-washy on that. And even myself, based on other sources, we were expecting in August an announcement of the Canon EOS R1 or a shipping date. I have one source telling me that we're going to see the R1 in August, but I couldn't validate that any further. This is the first time I've gotten validation from a reliable and credible source as to which 2 cameras, and this is the exact same source that told me a couple of weeks ago that we are getting 2 cameras at this big Canon announcement. Now, there is one more thing he told me about pre-orders, that pre-orders will start after the announcement. Now, I tried to find out other information. I said, well, once the announcement starts, will the pre-orders be available then? Will they be available once the announcement is over? How will this transpire? And is this for the R1? Is it for the R5 Mark II? Do they have different dates? And I tried to get some other information. So this is still very much fluid. The only thing I was prepared to go to press with right now is the 2 camera models. So I really, and this to me makes an awful lot of sense. The R5 Mark II, I was kind of expecting this to be on the market, to shipping to your door by early July at the very latest. June made sense, May made sense. 2020 was a very strange year. Normally we don't get a lot of announcements in July, in July and August. So really May is kind of the last big month before you move into the summer months. But with it being a big sports year, with the Olympics and other major events, it was surprising to hear that the R1 would be announced later on in the year, start shipping later on in the year. And so to find out that the R5 Mark II and the R1 are supposed to be announced at this big Canon event, which is supposed to take place on May the 15th, well, that to me is what should have been done all along. It makes sense. It makes more sense than CP+, although at CP+, we should have gotten some sort of Canon EOS R1 development announcement. So again, guys, take it with a grain of salt. I am waiting for Canon Rumors to follow up on this. I've actually already sent them a note letting them know that this is what I found out, because I'm not doing this just to get views. And you might be thinking, that's horse hockey. No, let me explain. I do want to get noticed for coming up with accurate and reliable information, but I don't want to just, the goal isn't to get views. If I get the reliable, accurate information, I'm going to get the views. But if all I want to do is get the views, then I'm just going to start making up stuff, and that's not what I'm about. It's about getting the information out there, letting other people know, getting them to validate your information. I mean, that's the whole, if you follow the scientific method, it's not just about coming up with a hypothesis, testing it, experimenting, and then you're done. You've got a conclusion. It's publishing those results so your peers can review them, and that's what I'm looking forward to here. So I would expect some validation of these specifications by, what is today, Wednesday? So 2 days, Thursday and Friday at the very latest. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest regarding the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the Canon EOS R1, this big Canon announcement that's supposed to take place, and any other details, I hope to have pricing information very shortly, as well as some dates. So please, well, it's up to you. If you don't want to subscribe and choose all notifications, you don't have to. The YouTube algorithm will probably recommend videos for at least the next couple of weeks. But all that minor stuff that isn't quite important enough to, well, how should I say, have its own separate video, I'll tweet those out on X. And you might notice that I have smart pre-order links in the description down below. These guys right here for Adorama and B&H. And if you're planning on purchasing from B&H and Adorama, then go ahead and use these smart pre-order links. These won't be effective until the embargo is lifted, until Canon does their event. But what it's going to do is save you about 5 to 15 seconds so you can get further into the queue. If you take a look at this screenshot of, let's say, the Canon EOS R5C, you can see it's got multiple different options. And that's what these smart pre-order links will do, because Canon's going to release the Canon EOS R1, they're going to release the Canon EOS R5, and they'll probably release kit versions of that, maybe with multiple different lenses. And then what Adorama and B&H will also do, well, they're also going to do the same thing. They're also going to say, okay, well, the R5 will give you these choice of lenses with these prices, and if you want, we'll throw in some memory cards, card readers, and a camera bag. So I have the smart pre-order links for both the Canon EOS R1 and the Canon EOS R5 in the description down below. Guys, I've never seen anything like this. We're supposed to be having an event in, what, today's Wednesday, exactly a week away. We don't have anything from Canon yet. There's no YouTube scheduled event. There's no press release. I've been checking their stuff on a daily basis, other than one tweet from Canon USA saying, we love our photographers. So stay tuned. I think things are going to start moving really quickly now. I get a sense from what I'm hearing, though, is that the Canon EOS R5, it's going to sell very, very well, as is the Canon EOS R1. And once I have confirmation of date and time, I'm going to schedule a live stream for 90 minutes before the event with my expert live panel. That's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see each other really soon. Cheers. Bye-bye now.